Hey beautiful people, you're welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're learning how to make this fitted pencil skirt with bum contour. You can see how fitted the skirt is. We'll also be learning how to finish our skirt professionally using the backed out seam, also known as the inseam finishing. If this is something you would love to learn, I'll implore you to stay to the end of this video. Give this video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll get right into the video. So for this tutorial, we'll be needing your fabric, whatever fabric you'll be using for the skirt. For this, I'm using African print. You'll be needing your lining, your zipper, your sewing supplies in general. So I used about 1.5 yard of fabric and lining, of African print fabric and lining. So I would be using the lining for illustration because I want the markings to be clear. Okay, so unfold, we'll be starting from the front. So unfold, you should have your hip measurements divided by 4 plus 1 inch for allowance, or as much allowance as you want for the side seam, but I'm using just 1 inch for the side seam allowance. So I have my quarter of my hip measurements plus 1 inch for the seam allowance. So you can see it is on fold. It's on fold because we're starting from the front. So we're going to be marking our lines. The first line we'll be putting down is our waist to hip line. We'll be using 1.5. We'll be deducting 1.5 for the band. So I'm just going to take that 1.5 out. The starting line we made is going to serve as our waistline. So from the waistline, I'm going to mark my waist to hip line, which is 9 inches. And from that point, I'm going to take my waist to knee line. Now my waist to knee is 24, but I'm not going to be marking exact on that line. I'm going to be going up by 5 inches from that point. So I'm marking my waist to hip at 19. You do not want to take your waist to knee line on the exact place where you measured. You are going to go up by 5 inches from your knee line and then mark it. The next line we are going to mark is the length of the skirt plus the allowance for folding. So I added extra 2 inches for the hemming. Then we're going to rule out the line. So that is the full length. So my full length is 41, and then I added extra 2 inches for the hemming. So I'm just going to rule out the lines. Then I'm going to be marking the lines, labeling the line. So this is our waistline, this is our hip line, this is our knee line, or you can say above knee because it's above the knee line, and that's our full length of the skirt. So we have our waistline, our hip line, above knee line, and the full length of the skirt. Okay, now we're going to be inputting the circumference measurements. So our waist circumference, we're going to put the measurements. Now we're dividing our waist by 4. So the waist measurement we're working with is 31. We're going to put the quarter of the measurement, and then I'm going to be adding 1 inch for seam allowance. On the hip line, we're putting the quarter of your hip measurement plus 1 inch for seam allowance. So the quarter of your hip measurement plus 1 inch for the seam allowance. And now on the above knee line, we are going to be subtracting some inches from what we have on the hip to give it that pencil shape. So it depends on how penciled you want it to be. You could deduct from 1 inch to 2 inches. So advise you don't go above 2 inches. So I am doing 2 inches here. So I have 11.5 on my hip line. I deducted 2 inches. So I imputed 9.5 on my knee line. And I'm going to be putting same measurements on the full length. So remember that 11.5 is with the seam allowance. That means the 9.5 I put on the knee already has the seam allowance to it. I hope you understand. So whatever you have on your hip line, you deduct 2 inches from it and put it on the knee line. After that, we'll be connecting our lines. So you connect from the waistline to the hip line, from the hip line to the knee line, and then straight down to the full length of the skirt. So that's how you're going to connect it. And then on the hip line, make sure you blend the hip line. We don't want any sharp corners on the hip, so make sure it's curved, not too curvy, just blended, as you can see me do in the video. So that is what you should do on the hip area. So after this, we are going to be coming down on our waistline by 1 inch, because the waist, as we know, is not straight. So we are going to be coming down by 1 inch on the waistline and connect it to the waist measurement. Then I'm going to go ahead and add my 1/2 inch seam allowance to join the band on the waist area. We're going to connect this, and this is about all for the front. We're just going to cut this off and then work on the back. To draft the back pattern, we just need to create a starting line and also a zipper allowance. So I marked about 1.5 inches for the zipper allowance at the side, and then I just created that starting point that will serve as our waist line. Okay, so we'll be marking the same measurements we have in front. We'll come down, go up by 1.5 for the band, then you mark your waist to hip line, the waist to above knee line as we used in front, and also the full length of the skirt, and we'll be rolling the line across, just marking the line across the fabric. Okay, beautiful people, if you've been watching up until this point, please do well to give this video a thumbs up, like, share, and also subscribe. Thank you. So this is our waistline, this is our hip line, this is the above knee line, and then we have the full length of the skirt plus the hemming allowance, of course. All right, so to begin with the back, we are going to start by taking in 0.75 at the center back. Now that is for the back tightening and contouring, to give it a nice shape at the back and for the back to also lay flat. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and impute your waist measurement from that point plus 1 inch, quarter of your waist measurement plus 1 inch for the seam allowance. Then on the hip line, from the center back line, you're going to impute your quarter of your hip measurement plus 1 inch for side seam. Now for the center back, for the knee line, remember we took away 2 inches from our knee hip measurements. On the knee line, we are going to be sharing that 2 inches between the center back and the side. We are not just going to be taking the whole 2 inches from the side. So from the center back line, you're going to come in by 1 inch, impute your 9.5, which is what we used in front for the knee tightening. So this 1 inch is like showing you that we've deducted 1 inch at the side and 1 inch at the center back. So on the knee line, on the hem line, we'll be doing the same thing. You take away 1 inch from the center back, impute your 9.5, which we have at the front. So that way we have taken away 1 inch from the side and then 1 inch from the center back. So we will have that contour at the knee and at the bum area. So we'll just be connecting our lines. So we connect from the waist to the hip line, then from the hip line we'll connect it to the knee line and then to the full length. Now you can see where I marked my line, it is to the 9.5 mark. All right, so we're going to just take that connection down to the hemline, and then we'll be connecting the center back line also. So from the full length, we'll connect it to the knee line, and then to the hip line, and to the waistline. So we can see the shape that the center back is giving. You can already see how shaped it is. It's no longer straight, the normal straight way. So that way it's fitted at the bum area, and also the zipper area, the back of the skirt is going to lay flat. I also do this. I also go down by 0.75 at the center back line. It also helps to give a fit on your waistband for the skirt. Just try this and you're going to see the difference. All right, so the next thing we are going to do is make sure our hip line is well blended, and then we are going to go ahead and mark our new zipper allowance. So I'll be using 1 inch for the zipper allowance. I'm using this white chalk so I don't get confused with my markings. So I'm just going to mark the 1 inch for the zipper allowance and 1/2 inch for the joining of the band on the upper part. Also, I went ahead to mark my 2 inches for the hem allowance and then cut it out. So here now we have our front pattern and our back pattern ready, and then we are going to be transferring this to the fabric. So all you need to do is place the lining on the fabric and cut it exactly how it is. So you're just going to fold your fabric, place the lining on the fabric, and cut it exactly how you have it on the lining. After doing this, I'm going to be reducing the length of the lining because I don't want the lining and the fabric to be the same length. The lining is going to go in. That extra 2 inches, 1.5 is going to be folded into the lining. So I'm just going to leave 1/2 inch from that point, and I'm going to cut off 1.5. Remember we left 2 inches. Yes, I'm just going to remove 1.5 from the lining, and then I'm going to leave 1/2 inch to join the fabric to the lining. I'll be doing the same thing on the front pattern. Okay guys, so let's get right into the sewing of this skirt. The first thing we want to do is go and join the sides. So I'm just making notches on the back pattern to know my center back. So we're just going to go ahead and sew the sides for the fabric and the lining. Join the two sides. Now we left 1 inch for the side seam, so we're going to be joining with that 1 inch for the side seam, and also close the zipper area also. So you leave some inches for your zipper, and then you close and leave some inches for the slits. So we're here. I have gone ahead to join this. So as you can see, I left some inches for the zipper and then also some inches for the slits. Now for the length of the slits, it's by preference, but I think you can go up by 4 to 5 inches from your knee line. Like my knee line was 24, so you can go up, say up to 20 or 19 for your slit, so that it can enable you walk properly. All right, so we are going to go ahead now and fix our zipper on the fabric, and then also use the lining to turn the zipper. Then after that, we are going to go ahead and join the lining at the hem. So you place it right sides facing each other, and then you join it at the hem also, and also close the slits. Okay guys, so we've gone ahead to join everything, and this is what it's looking like. You can see the slits. I'm going to be turning it to the wrong side. So this is what we have at the wrong side. Everything is finished neatly on the inside. Okay, so I'm just going to flip it inside out to show us what the inside looks like and how the slits was joined. So this is the inside. This is the zip. After sewing the zip on the fabric, you place your lining on it and also stitch on it again. And then for the slits, just place the lining right sides facing the fabric and then continue with your 1-inch seam allowance that will left at the back. So you sew it till the end of the fabric of the skirt. So you do that on both sides of the center back to give you your slits closed inside perfectly. So the next thing we're going to do now is to work on the band. For the band, you'll be taking your waist measurement, round waist measurement on what of the skirt. So our waist measurement is 31. So you measure what you have on the skirt and make sure you have your exact waist measurement on the skirt. And then you are going to be cutting a band. Now for the band, I have here a band of 4 inches. On fold is going to be 2 inches. So I cut out 4 inches by 33. So on fold we have 2 inches. Remember the band height is 1.5. Then we are going to be using 1/2 inch to join it to the skirt part. So I have here with me the length of 33 inches because we'll be overlapping the band for the skirt hook. Okay, so we're going to be closing it and then it's going to be overlapped. So I've gone ahead to iron and interfacing on the band. So to sew your band, you're going to just close the one side and then leave 1/2 inch open, and then we are going to sew it. To join it, you place, after closing the side, you place it from the back, the right side facing the lining. Then we are going to sew it round 1/2 inch and then top stitch on the right side so that you can see what we are sewing. So that's the way to fix your band. Okay guys, so here we are done fixing our band, and this is what we have. You can already see the shape even without the skirt being worn. You can see the shape that it is giving. Now if you look closely, you would see that the bum area has like a depth to it, so that is to give room for the butt to go in and also have that shape at the back. So I'll just show you the inside. You can see how the inside looks very nice and neatly finished. So this is how you should finish your skirts. This is the best way, the professional way to go about sewing your skirts. So you can see all these knits now is a very good press. Now take a look at the curve at the waist. You can see the 1 inch, the effect it had on the waist. So see the curve at the back also. It's going to help the skirt sit perfectly on you. So I'm going to be putting this on and then we'll see how it looks and fits on the body. So if you watched the tutorial up until this point, I bet you learned something new or you learned 1 or 2 additional knowledge to what you know. So please give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, share so other people can get to learn from this video, and please do well to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You can see the feet. Okay, beautiful people, I'll see you in the next video. Remember to practice. Bye.